Inflation has been one of the biggest crises the Biden administration has faced this year, and Vice President Kamala Harris is facing scrutiny yet again. This time after struggling to fully grasp inflation's impact on the American people in a recent interview.
Was it wrong to consider inflation transitory? I mean, these price spikes seem like they're going to be with us for a while.
We have to address the fact that we got to deal with the fact that folks are paying for gas, paying for groceries, and need solutions to it.
I don't really follow, but there is a Wall Street Journal poll, Jimmy, showing 56% of people say that inflation is causing financial hardship in their life. So that's a big number. It's routinely one of the top economic issues. And yet the messaging has been so bad from the White House. First, they called it transitory. Then there was this DCCC chart. This is the Democrat House campaign arm. They put up this beauty of a chart on their Twitter feed celebrating a 2-cent drop in gas prices. The y-axis is like humongous to make it look like a big drop, but it's not. And then you have Kamala, who can't even answer a question on it. I don't know what is worse, this chart or Kamala's answer, but they're all a whole lot of bad, Jimmy.
I really feel for people because the Democratic Party has demonstrated like a real indifference to the plight of people struggling with inflation. Like you said, prices through the roof. Gas is horrendous. Even now, prices have come down a little bit. But do you know how much that crushes the little guy, Kaylee? And forget all the drivers. Think about the people on my radio show who like to sniff gas. You know, nobody talks about them. But the truth is, you know, Kamala Harris is so far in over her head when it comes to this position. And the Democratic Party warned us about this during their own primaries, if you remember, when she dropped out before the Iowa caucuses even happened. You know, she was at the time polling, I believe, behind the Omicron variant. She wasn't popular in her own party. And I think her one success as a vice president is going to be that she's the person who effectively killed identity politics. Because I don't think we're ever going to appoint a person to a position of that high in leadership just because ever again. And make no mistake about it, she was appointed just because. Joe Biden was very upfront about the fact that we wanted a woman of color. Now, listen, there are probably 10 million women of color who could be doing this job better than her. But at a time when Americans are getting crushed, it's really not reassuring to see her take a question on inflation and react to it like a stoned kid who didn't expect to run into his parents when he came home that night. Like, she really does look like bewildered, like, what are you doing here? Inflation. And it's embarrassing for her, but it's really scary for everybody else, man.
Yeah, you have a wild radio show, Jimmy. Don't think you snuck that sniffing gas comment past me. I picked right up on it. But
87 octane, it's good.
Yeah. Kennedy, look, it is astounding how bad of a communicator she is. I mean, I think about what an asset Vice President Pence was. He was always on message. He was always out there, and, you know, you could count on him to be on message. But for a national political figure to just not be able to answer something so elementary, it just continues to confound me.
You know, Kaylee, I have a soft spot for Hoosier politicians. You know that. I mean, you had me at hello. But she was asked this very question before Thanksgiving. So, you know, over a month ago, she was asked about inflation, and she gives this like long-winded answer about how people are paying more, and then this word salad gobbledygook about the supply chain. And she doesn't even understand the correlation between the supply chain issues and prices right now, but that's not what is driving inflation. And what is so confounding about this vice president is she completely abdicated her responsibilities on the border because she said that she had to investigate the root causes. I wish you would take the time and investigate the root causes of inflation and really try and understand that, because that has to do with monetary policy and the Fed flooding the entire economic system with the U.S. dollar. And so you have more dollars in search of the same amount or fewer goods, which makes prices go up. In addition to that, this insane spending also exacerbates inflation. So this administration has to find a way to cut spending, which they will never do. And until they do, inflation is going to continue to go up. This is why she's so frustrating to her staff, because she won't read basic briefs and she makes the same mistakes over and over again.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't read her briefs. And we do, as promised, have a highlight reel, or at least some of the moments from the Veep this year. Let's play the first one from the border czar.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
Dr. Sapphire, that was a moment.
That was quite a moment. As someone from the border state, born and raised in Arizona, and I've actually been to the border, it is insulting for the people of the Southwest for her to laugh it off and shrug about going to the border when there is a border crisis. I mean, there are people crossing the desert every single day, many of them winding up into the hospitals because it is such a severe trek. And as we saw, we had people actually massively congregating in the time when we have a pandemic. They didn't have effective testing. They didn't have isolation and quarantine protocols. So no, it's a slap in the face to Americans when you have her laughing when she is the one tasked with fixing a major problem.
Yeah, and Lauren, here's another moment. We had a bunch of them, but we can only fit in so many, so I'll give you this last one. Let's roll the tape.
Just a few days ago, there were funds allocated to continue backing Israel, which hurts my heart because it's an ethnic genocide.
This is about the fact that your voice, your perspective, your experience, your truth should not be suppressed, and it must be heard.
So leaning into a narrative that Israel's committing ethnic genocide. There's also the faking of the Parisian accent. I forgot that one.
The list goes on. I'm actually going to say this. I agree with the message that Hillary Clinton gave to the Democratic Party, that they need to pay attention to what wins elections, and the midterms are upon them. And all of these missteps about major issues for American people and for the Democratic Party, which is supposed to be about working class Americans, inflation being one of them, they're just not, they're being aloof. They're trying to deny that things happen when reality is in front of us, and I'm not sure they can continue to deny and be led by the left anymore. So maybe 2022 is the year we actually return to some sense of honesty and normalcy.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. I will say I don't have much confidence in the Veep seeing us out of that, but